I decided to play every Final Fantasy game on stream in a row. That's 16 mainline games and more when you count their sequels. Final Fantasy is one of the most celebrated franchises in gaming, spanning every era, starting with the first Final Fantasy on the NES, with mainline titles a part of every console generation through to today. Given that these are all JRPGs, this is quite a massive undertaking. So you might be wondering, how did we get here? Well, up until this point, Final Fantasy XIV Online is the only one that I've played, and that is an MMO, so it isn't quite the same as the other mainline games. Well, except for 11. Yep, not looking forward to that one. Other than that, the closest thing I've gotten is like playing Cloud in Super Smash Bros. That is not to say I know absolutely nothing about these games. Obviously, 7 is a cultural icon, and 14 has plenty of references to the other games, even if I didn't recognize them as such at the time. Playing through 14, I've had it in the back of my mind that someday I'd want to give the others a try, but this didn't truly come to the forefront of my mind until the Magic the Gathering / Final Fantasy crossover set came out. First of all, seeing all the characters I love on cards has just been amazing, but the deeper you look at the set, just the attention to detail and the flavor and the art in the entire set is just such a clear love letter to Final Fantasy. And that isn't even counting just how much fun the limited environment has been to stream. Easily one of the best Magic sets I've ever played. And loving all the 14 references on the cards, this has only made me want to learn who the rest of these characters are, so I can love them just as much. So that is how I ended up on stream loading up the first Final Fantasy game. And I absolutely loved it. A quick caveat, video games have come a long way since 1987, and while I do want to experience every Final Fantasy story, for every game in the series, I am playing whatever the most recent remake of them is. There's no reason to sit through old, outdated games, especially when the Pixel Remasters have amazing reorchestrated music. Yeah, that's right, we're here for the music, quality of life features optional. Okay, let's talk about the game itself. Well, actually, before we can even start the game, we are presented an option. We have to choose 4 party members from the options of 6 classes: Warrior, Monk, Thief, Black Mage, White Mage, and Red Mage. Now, I am going into this game mostly blind, and I only have my 14 knowledge to go off of. While I certainly think it would have been funny to run in Fireballs a-blazing with a party of 4 Black Mages, I decided it was better to try a more balanced party, rather than trying a meme run on my first ever playthrough. That being said, the 3 Mages are definitely my first 3 options. While none of them I would consider a main in 14, they are solidly secondaries that I do really like to play there. And I do have a particular fondness for Black Mage in general. That leaves 1 slot left on the team to choose. Now, I know from experience that mages tend to be on the frail side, so I definitely wanted a tankier character for the 4th slot. And looking at the job list in 14, only of one of these remaining ones says tank by its name, so Warrior it is. However, I did not know ahead of time that apparently Warrior is just an unkillable menace in this game, so I guess I made the right choice. Hit random on the name generator a couple times, and this is how Saren the Black Mage, Riley the White Mage, Hubert the Red Mage, and Korad the Warrior started their journey to become the prophesied Warriors of Light and save the world from calamity. Apparently, they have the 4 crystals that say they are the prophesized heroes that will save the world. So the king asks us to save his daughter Sarah from the traitor Garland. In exchange, he will rebuild the bridge to the north so we can start our adventure across the world. And so we are off to save Princess Sarah. Here, we start getting a glimpse of the basic gameplay loop. Fight enemies, go back to the town and heal. Fight enemies, go back to the town and heal. Like in Pokemon, each turn of combat, we choose a move for each of our characters. Except, instead of the normal moves that I was used to, each character has a choice of attack, magic, item, defend, or flee. Attack is literally just click on an enemy and deal damage, where magic is more similar to the Pokemon style where you choose a specific type of move, like healing, fire, blizzard, or thunder, which means non-magic users basically only ever deal regular attack damage unless you're using a bag item. Yeah. Really glad I chose 3 mages so we actually have options during combat. While you may have expected defend to be the way you use your tank to protect your squishy casters, nope, it literally only protects the character that is defending and leaves the rest of your characters to just get hit instead. So yeah, we tried that once and never again. Apparently, the way they actually tank for your team is that team members on the top apparently just get targeted more often. Nothing in the game tells you that. I had to get told by chat why Saren kept dying. Okay, so with defend basically being useless and only clicking flee a couple times at early levels, that means we basically only ever click attack and magic throughout the entire game. And fleeing we only did a couple times because apparently, even at level 1, you can randomly encounter an entire army of enemies and can be completely outnumbered 9-4. Okay, so we finally get enough levels and excess healing items to make it to the Chaos Shrine and challenge Garland. Is Garland. Oh, I probably should have healed at the start of that before coming in here. Heal it with fire. Or 2. So if I try to use an item, I'm guessing it just uses it on the current on the party member that I'm using it with. Oh no, okay. Sick. And then I'm out of PP. Oh. U-Bird's dead. U-Bird's missing out on all the EXP here. I feel like I need to protect right now. And you are useless. We could use an ether. Screw it. Let's use an ether. I didn't need to protect, apparently. Kind of funny that U-Bird just doesn't get EXP here. So yeah, despite U-Bird sitting on his ass for half the fight, that went pretty well. Garland is defeated, Sura is saved, we get to continue on our adventure, and I'm pretty sure we get proposed to somewhere in the middle of this dialogue. Cue the opening scroll, clearly marking the end of the tutorial area, and the start of the first act of the game. You're the chosen heroes, go save the world, etc, etc, etc. On to the second town, where we beat some pirates and definitely did not steal their boat, as it was clearly a gift given to us after beating them. And now we can travel around the first area of the game, and can travel to the elf village, appropriately named Elfheim. Here, we finally get some better distinction between what our mages are going to be doing. White mages obviously are a healer, casting cures on the party and utilizing spells to protect and prevent negative conditions. Black mage is less so of a raw damage dealer like I was expecting, and is instead where we get our AoE spread damage. While their spells do roughly the same damage numbers as our warrior, at the cost of having to manage MP, we get access to spells that target multiple enemies, an invaluable resource when fighting random encounters with many enemies to worry about. Lastly, red mage is the jack of all trades support on the team, able to learn both white and black mage spells and deal reasonable damage with their basic attacks. They get to flex into whatever slot we need at the time, such as acting as a backup healer when things are looking dire. I'm kind of burying the lead here, as Ubert's true job on the team is to cast party buff spells accessible through black magic, specifically Temper and Haste. Temper increases a target party member's attack damage, essentially acting like a swords dance, except another weaker party member is the one that actually spends the turn doing it. I guess that would technically mean the better Pokemon comparison would be Decorate then. Haste is similar, except it increases the number of attacks a party member performs per turn, meaning that it stacks multiplicatively with the boost from Temper. And I think we all know from Balatro how powerful stacking multiplicative buffs can be when you are trying to make the big numbers. Yeah. Apparently I found the broken combo that makes this game boss's easy mode. Anyways, back to the story. In the Elf Village, we learn that Astos, yeah, that's an unfortunate name, King of the Dark Elves, cursed the Elf Prince, and we need a potion from the wizard Matoya to heal him. Off to go exploring again. We find some castle ruins and get asked by a different king to retrieve his crown from some cave so he can restore his castle. Apparently Astos wrecked this place too, so we are off again to find the crown. Oh, that was easy. Here's your stupid crown back. Oh no, he's actually Astros. Cursor sudden but inevitable betrayal. Oh, right into a boss fight. Forgot to heal. Okay, time to cast Temper. Cast Cure on Hubert. You cast Fire Aura. Okay, I should silence you. Oh, but Phoenix down, you're just going to revive at 1 HP. Okay, let's start with a high potion. Silence. Okay, then you're going to Phoenix down, and you are going to Temper. No effect? Yay, silence. I did something correct. This was probably a really tough lesson in healing and saving if you didn't silence, lol. Well done. Thank you. Yep, as soon as I saw a spell get cast, I was like, finally, silence gets to do something. And despite the disadvantage, we got the Temper Haste. Okay, we defeated Astos despite being completely unprepared for a boss fight, and we get some Crystal Eye in return. We go to check on the prince. Yep, still asleep. Time to go wandering to figure out what to do next. Oh hey look, dwarfs. Except they are of absolutely no help right now, and we need some nitro powder for one of them. Yay, more wandering. Oh hey, here's Matoya's Cave. Okay, I know it says Matoya's Cave here on the top, but I would have recognized this based off the music alone. I'm gonna be honest, I did not realize that the badass wizard grandma from Final Fantasy XIV was a reoccurring character in these games. Anyways, Matoya complains that her crystal eye is missing, so I'm like, you mean this eye I found 5 minutes ago? Yeah, apparently we were supposed to stop by here before we even got to the second town. My bad. We trade the eye for the potion we need for the Elf Prince, trade the potion for a magic key, use the magic key to gain access to the nitro powder in the starting town castle, and use the nitro powder to blow up a canal to open the next area in the second act of the game. Yeah, apparently 1987 RPG game design was just a bunch of fetch quests. Okay, off to the next town. Oh, it's fucked. Talking to the NPCs here, we get told that a vampire is responsible and that the power of the Earth Crystal is being blocked. Okay, now we know what the next thing to do is, but before we leave, I need to get on my soapbox. I know I've been doing my best to talk to all of the NPCs in this game, but it can start to blend together. Apparently, one of the guys in this town is important later on, and the only way you would know he is here is if you talk to him and remember his name. I know it says Dr. Une up here on the top, but I'm nicknaming him Waldo, because later on in Act 3 of this game, we're going to have to find Waldo, and it is going to be a pain in the ass. Okay, I'm putting away the soapbox away for now. Just know I'm pulling it back out later when we get to playing Where's Waldo. Time to go save the Earth Crystal. Of course, we go to the wrong cave to start and get told, and like, I try a couple times, but yeah, this golem is not budging. Off to the correct cave. Here we do find the vampire and teach it the power of temper haste. Oh shit, we one-cycled it. But does this victory feel hollow? We get the ruby, but what about the Earth Crystal? Weren't we supposed to save it? Where is that? Well, apparently if I had actually paid attention, I would know that golems like to eat rubies. Honestly, I kind of accidentally figured that out, but hey, we made progress. Talk to the sage who tells us how to get further in the Earth Cave, and we go to fight the actual boss here, the Lich. Big damage equal dead boss, and the Earth Crystal is restored. Off to find the next place we can go, which is the Crescent City, where we get told by a circle of wizards that we, the Warriors of Light, need to defeat each of the fiends of earth, fire, water, and wind that are draining the energy from the matching 4 great crystals. They tell me to return once the light from all the crystals shine again, and give me a canoe in return for listening to all of their yapping. Which, like, it's kind of funny that we get a smaller boat than what we already had with the big boat, but hey, it lets us sail on the rivers that our big boat can never. Now we know exactly what to do, and we can go on to our next task and take out Merilith, the Fiend of Fire, using our Temper Haste strat. Up next is the Cavern of Ice, which gives us the Levy Stone, which certainly won't be important in the near future. And then at this point, we have exhausted all of the locations to go to in the bottom continent. Onto the northern continent, or so I thought. Yeah, I sailed around this whole thing at least 3 times, but there are no ports to land my boat at. Clearly I missed something. I do find one small area where you can go from boat to canoe to get out of the boat, but this only granted us access to the Citadel of Trials, which at the end gives us a rat's tail. Great. Another item with no discernible use yet. Yippee. We do another lap around the continent to see if we missed anything, and then it's back to the southern continent to talk to random NPCs in hopes that we missed something, which we did. Apparently at this point, we're supposed to talk to this random sage in Elfheim. While writing the script, I did go back and double check, and like, they did hint that in the future they would be important, which I did eventually remember, but boy is that an obscure thing to have to remember to do. Like, how was I supposed to know that now is the right time? Anyways, they tell us to go to the desert south of the Crescent Lake with the Levy Stone. And lo and behold, we get our ticket to the northern continent. Airship acquired, we now have access to the entire map. Of course, the first place we go to is the last place we need to go to because we can't understand anyone, and the second place we go to is completely locked. Why am I so good at doing stuff out of order? Okay, here's a town where we can actually visit. Between this town and the next that we'll go to after a couple detours, we learn a couple things. We need the Oxyel to breathe underwater to get to the Fiend of Water. There are definitely mermaids in this town. We need a ferry to give us the Oxyel to breathe underwater. There's a merchant caravan in the desert, and this guy is a fucking asshole. Apparently he bottled up the ferry in the second town and sold it to a merchant and has zero remorse for it. Like, what the fuck? Like, even after buying the ferry back, this guy still does not care. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In between visiting both towns and piecing out our next steps, we complete the waterfall dungeon for the warp cube. Again, +1 item that means nothing to me now. We also visit the dragon caves, which have 6 different entrances. And in case you're wondering, yes, In line with my luck up to this point, I managed to enter the cave with Bahamut, the Dragon King, first, which based on the dialogue is clearly the last part of the Dragon Caves you were supposed to explore. Bahamut, seeing our rat's tail as a sign of courage, quote, honors us with titles befitting our valor, which apparently means bestowing upon us some sick new drip. And now instead of being mages, we are now wizards, and our warrior is now a knight. And while black, white, and red wizard doesn't exactly roll off the tongue quite as well as mage does, my real complaint here is that the black wizard attire is a definite downgrade. The charm of black mage is that you couldn't see their face, and getting this Chad figure is just way less cool. And the black mage sprites are just so much better too. Specifically, the animation where you're walking upwards does this little wiggle that I absolutely adored and pointed out multiple times when playing, and now it's just gone. And also, the black mage sprite during battle constantly looked like he was flipping off the enemies, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. But these complaints pale in comparison to the complaints I need to make about the desert caravan. Multiple NPCs tell you to find this merchant in the desert west of the town. But here is the desert. Where is the merchant? I don't fucking see anything here, do you? No. That's because this is the only location on the entire map without a clear entrance. Like everywhere else is clearly visible from the overworld. But this desert caravan? Nope. You're supposed to just randomly step on this specific tile to find it. How is anyone supposed to figure this out? I spent so long trying to figure out where this goddamned merchant is. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Fuck Kraken. Oh wait, yeah. After having to be told by a friend what to do to find the merchant, we buy the ferry back, return it to the lake, get the Oxyel, go underwater to where the mermaids are, and defeat the Fiend of Water easy peasy. In the underwater dungeon, there's this really trippy room where all the mermaids are, and it's topographic, so when you walk off the map in one direction, it warps you around, and it really confused me, and I had to triple check to make sure I didn't miss any chests. At least here, we get the Rosetta Stone, which should let us decode the language being spoken in Lufenia. Except, before we can actually go there, we have to actually find someone to translate it and teach us the language. Fortunately, there's NPC dialogue that hints that we have to go find someone named Une to translate it, but it doesn't actually tell us where we are supposed to go. Time to fucking go find Waldo. Whatever. I've done enough complaining about not knowing where to go. Let's move on. Find Waldo, go to Lufenia, get the loot that will let us go into Mirage Tower. Wait, nope, not that Mirage Tower. Wrong game. This Mirage Tower. Climb the tower, use the warp stone to teleport to the flying fortress where we will be able to restore the last crystal. Here, we actually get a bird's eye view of the entire world and see that all the energy from the gray crystals has been being channeled into the Chaos Shrine. I wonder what that could mean. Anyways, we easily defeat Tiamat and save the last of the 4 crystals. Time to go back to the Wizard Circle because this is the one time they clearly told us where to backtrack to. But before we do that, time for a quick detour to find a random encounter enemy. Apparently, the true final boss of this game is some random 1% encounter on the last floor of the Air Fortress. Like, imagine you are doing a normal playthrough, the internet does not exist, you are on your way to fight Tiamat, and all of a sudden you run into the War Mech. A single enemy with an HP pool equivalent to the boss enemies, and it heals 100 points at the end of every round. And you wipe to it right before the actual boss of the dungeon. And the hilarious part is this only happens to the players unlucky enough to run into it randomly. So of course, after being told about this by chat, I had to hunt it down. Ooh, this thing? The War Mech? This is the thing we're supposed to be scared of? What was the item? Giant's Gloves. Haste. Start with Protect. And then we can just click Flare. I mean, we could just try to kill it. No, I want to see how tanky this thing is. Or 40. This heals 100? 268. Flare. Bunch of heals. And click Flare again. Nuke! Holy shit, that's a lot of damage. But so is 1,300. We did it. Yeah, I may be a little over-leveled at this point. Onto the Wizard Circle, where we learn, turns out, Garland isn't actually dead and has been revived. What a twist. So yeah, I already figured this out. The overworld map in this game lets you know if you've opened all the chests in an area, so of course I knew we were going to have to come back to the Chaos Shrine. But even more than that, a Garland card in Magic the Gathering is a double face card where you can return Garland from your graveyard transformed as Chaos. And I've played against it enough times to know that this was coming. Anyways, Garland used the energy from the crystals to set up a time loop so he would be reincarnated over and over. So it is up to us to go 2,000 years into the past to defeat him for good and end the time loop. Cue Chaos Shrine 2, Electric Boogaloo, and a boss rush fighting all of the fiends again. And finally, Garland transforms into chaos. Wow, nice background. Wait. Okay, you're casting haste, so you're casting temper. Where's Steve to shout chaos? Oh my god, you're right. Kiraga attacks Flare. Get them heals in. $420 dead. Saren, what are you doing? We get our null all? Nope. Did I not null all here? We're gonna try one more time. Click that. Click Flare. Zaga. Bunch of damage. Flare Bud again. We did a little bit more. Okay, I don't think we can null all. I think it affects the hit rate of beneficial spells too. Yeah, that sounds about right. Gas chooses abilities completely random from like a list of 30 of the best spells. Damn. Oh, Jesus. Someone's hurting. You need to feel Agad. Okay, you need to Kiraga. Yeah, we'll do that. More Flare! Earthquake. Oh, jeez. Oh, was that Flare enough? We got it. Oh yeah, Earthquake was instant death. Good thing we protected from instant death. Yeah. And with that, the world is saved and restored to peace. Cue the end scroll, and then credits, and then try to go propose to Sarah and be disappointed there's no dialogue option after beating the game. Okay, the actual last thing to do was to check out the gallery, which I didn't realize the art used on the Final Fantasy Through the Ages cards were actual concept arts from the game, so that was pretty cool to see. I really enjoyed playing through Final Fantasy 1, and I look forward to playing the rest. Being a huge Pokemon fan, it was really cool to play through because it's clear that Pokemon Red and Blue took a lot of inspiration from the first Final Fantasy game. Aside from some confusion as to where to go, the game was genuinely a lot of fun to play, and while the story is basic, cough 1987, the dialogue was actually really enjoyable. Thanks so much for watching this video. This is the first time I've actually scripted out a whole video like this, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching close to when this video came out, there's a good chance I'm playing Final Fantasy II live on stream now, or who knows, I may already be on a later game. I really wanted to get this video done before continuing the series, so I hope it was worth it. I know it is so overdone to ask for likes and subscribes, but please, if you got this far, click that like button. I won't even ask you to subscribe. Please just click the like button so I can know that I entertained at least one person for a little while. Just that will make all this effort worth it. Thank you.